Hey there, welcome to my lesson on 3-note per string, warm-ups and workouts. And today I'm going to show you the three and the only three left-hand fretting patterns that you need to play across any diatonic major or minor scale all the way across the neck. And using just these three shapes, you can hugely improve your fluency across all positions in all keys. Now, these shapes are ST, TS and TT.
What?
ST is semitone tone. This is three notes which have a semitone, then a tone gap between them. I might play these with fingers 1, 2 and 4. The second one of these is TS, or tone and semitone, and I play these with first, third and fourth fingers like this. And the third and final one is tone-tone. This is three notes which are each a tone apart from one another, and I might use first, second and fourth finger, or first, third and fourth finger. Different people prefer different finger combinations. Check which you've got a better stretch between. Can you do the Vulcan between your first and your second finger, or have you got a better shape between your third and your second finger? Yeah, mine's first and second. So all day long I'm going to be using my first, second and fourth fingers for those tone-tone gaps. These three left-hand combinations cover all possible things that your left hand's going to have to do while you're playing 3-note per string scales, any major scale, any minor scale, any of the diatonic modes. I'll be describing these just in terms of major keys and minor keys today, but if you know how your modes work, and you'll see that these equally apply to all of those. Anyway, let's get stuck in. The first one, ST, semitone tone. It's a semitone gap, then a tone gap. These always come in pairs across the strings, just like this one in A major. Have a look. So let's look at a couple of exercises that use this semitone tone shape. There'll be some helpful little diagrams around here which have a capital M for where your major root note happens and a small m for where your minor root note happens. Within all of these shapes, the gods of music have really let us down there, giving major and minor the same starting letter. Makes life pretty tricky for us. But keep your eye on these shapes here. So whenever you see any one of those combination of finger patterns, you'll see which one of those is the major root note and where you can find the minor root note as well. The semitone tone is a bit of an exception because we've got to slide down to find our root note for the minor keys, but there it is. That's going to help you out a lot. Keep your eyes open. Now I know these are in A major because my major root note happens here. It's the second note on the lower of those two strings. This one here. My second finger's on an A, so I know that these two pairs of shapes, or this pair of shapes rather, is going to work in the key of A major. There's my A. And I can find any A anywhere on the neck. Let's go this one here. This note, this is an A, so this little pair of semitone tone shapes, this is also in the key of A major. Let's find another A. Here's one here. It's going to be an A major, another A down here. So I can play any of these shapes in the key of A major and any of these exercises. So wherever you find an A note, you can build this pattern around it. Let's look at a legato exercise using this pattern. The cool thing about all these shapes is they'll work not only in the key of A major, but also in the key of F sharp minor. It's relative minor. The keys of A major and F sharp minor share all the same notes. So this little pattern we had up here on the top two strings, that was my A, there's my root note. Where's my F sharp? It's here, just 2 frets below, 2 frets lower than that first note I played. So let's find some F sharps around the neck. This one here, here's an F sharp. So move up by 2 frets. That same shape's going to work again. There's my group of notes, and I can play the same exercises. All works in F sharp minor too. And the best thing about these patterns is not only do they always come in pairs, you can tie them all together to make a full 3-octave scale shape in this case. Here it is, 3 full octaves of our A major. Also works for F sharp minor. And let's make a big exercise out of all of these shapes, all the way from bottom to top, top to bottom, whatever you like. Think of some of your own patterns. Come up with your own devices that use this semitone tone pattern with 2 adjacent strings, anywhere around the neck, and try it in different keys. Next up is tone-semitone, very similar, and of course it's a tone gap followed by a semitone gap. Let's look at these in the U key, let's look at these in D major. So here they are in D major. There it is, that shape, tone gap, semitone gap, again a tone gap and a semitone gap. Where's my root note here? D is the 3rd note, it's this note my little finger plays. And I can move it around, let's find another D. Here's a D. So this little pattern is also going to be in D major. Now let's play a couple of exercises using this tone-semitone pattern. When you get higher up the neck, you might want to use fingers 1, 2 and 3. You've got a little less space between frets. Keep your little finger out of it, and fingers 2 and 3 might be a better bet. Let's find a couple more Ds. Where have we got D? Here it is. Same pattern again, D major. And of course this one works in its relative minor as well. Where's our relative minor scale? Let's go back up here to 12. It's the very first note of this pattern, the B. So all of our D major patterns like this are going to work for B minor as well. Easy, the very lowest note. So let's find some other Bs and create the pattern here. Here's a B on the very bottom string. That little pattern's going to work. Great. Another B. Here's a B on this 3rd string. Watch this. Now for the first time we've had to hop up a fret. When I've gone from my G string to my B string, I've had to hop up by a fret from the 4th to the 5th. Now the reason for this is our guitars are tuned so our G and our B string are 1 fret closer than the rest. So all of these repeating patterns we find, we're going to have to make that little adjustment. There's 5 frets gap between the top 2 strings and the bottom 2 and all the others. But between the G and the B only 4 frets. We've got to compensate, so this shape is always going to hop up. Whatever shape you got, it's got to hop up between your 3rd and your 2nd strings. Watch out for that. So they're right next to each other on the bottom 2 strings in B minor. Right next to each other here. They're right next to each other here. When we get to here, add that little fret on back here at the top. And let's have a look at one of those legato exercises and see how that hop between frets affects it. Makes it a little trickier. Again, higher up the neck, you might want to use fingers 1, 2 and 3 for this pattern. Again, you can connect all these patterns together and get yourself a really good journey from the lower frets to the higher frets. Here it is in the key of B minor or D major, same notes. And you could add the bottom string onto this as well. Those 2 there. Down there. Let's put them all together into one big exercise, one big workout. Here it is. Of course, come up with your own again. Perhaps mix up some of the ones that we've looked at earlier on today. Look at some of these shapes, tie them together into your own device. Work it first of all in just a couple of strings and then see if you can take it all the way across the neck, looking out for those tone-semitone gaps all the time. Lastly, our tone-tone gaps. This is with a big stretch. Now these are great, they happen 3 whole times in a row in any key. Let's look at this on the bottom 3 strings now in the key of C major. Here it is. And the C note, it's there, it's the lowest note of the second string we play, so 1, 2, 3. There's your root note, your major root note. There's the whole shape. Let's find another C note then. Here's a C note, and we're going to have to start this G string 1 down. There's that C right in the middle, the 4th note up. All the time with the tone gaps between each finger. So where's the minor root note in all this? Well, this shape here, it's the second note we play and the last one, the A. Let's find some A's around the neck. Where's an A? Here's an A right at the bottom. We have to use the open string on that one. Let's do it up here. So A, the second note of the shape. Tone, 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 and an A at the top. Nice. But let's play another exercise with one of those. Here we go. And let's try this in a more unusual key, B flat major. Let's go for this. If you've got some horns players in the band, they're going to love B flat major. A lot of them are tuned to it. So let's find our B flat on the second string. There it is, on that 11th fret, so the whole thing is going to go with that 4th note, lowest note of the second string you play, there's the B flat. And let's play some legato licks using this shape. And how about a new minor key? Let's go with F minor, the saddest of all keys. Or was that D minor? Where's our F? Here's an F, the 10th fret on the G string, and I know it's going to appear at the top of these patterns, so I can work down. And I know these tone-tone shapes are going to give me an F sharp minor. The hippie shapes, there they are. And let's look at legato pattern using this shape. Now these are great for connecting all together because we've got the whole scale shape happening now. These previous ones, we only had 6 notes out of a full 7 of the scale, but now we've got the whole scale happening. So here's a full extended scale of C major and A minor. That works for C major and A minor because they're all the same notes. But notice we had to repeat ourselves a little bit. If we complete the pattern, we've overshot our octave. So when we start the pattern again, we go back by a note. Hence, we go back and repeat the note here. Back to repeat. Oh, excuse me. There it is. We can now tie together all these shapes, full 3 octaves, and the rest by using these tone-tone patterns all the way up and down. Let's do something in C. We're going to play up the key of C. Here we go. Let's go back down again. Let's do something in A minor. We're going to resolve to an A, so it sounds like an A minor lick, using the exact same bunch. Here we go. And as usual, be creative yourself. Come up with all your own exercises. Think semitone tone. How can I find these shapes all around the neck, and create your own little exercises to get your hands used to the semitone tone pattern, because it's going to happen all the time. Get your hand used to some tone-semitone patterns. Find a different key. Play around in all octaves, all positions. Get used to that. Then go for your tone-tone shapes. Create exercises of your own which get your fingers good at doing the full tone stretches all the way. Because if your hands can do those 3 things, you can play across all the scales, all the diatonic major and minor modes, everything, just using a combination of those. So, good luck.